intro.
Great Pharaoh, the gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
Hit the edge 30, 35, 40. Midfield, the man breaks a tackle. He's gone! 10, 5, touchdown! Raiders!
2 years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
What's good, Raider Nation? We are back talking Raider football, man. Just like I like it, man. We talking football, talking about the Raiders, and we're gonna talk about some good stuff today. But yeah, man, there's a lot to talk about today, man. But what's up with you, Ray?
Oh, not much, man. Get ready for this Sunday night football matchup. I'm sure you're excited.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. I'm gonna be in Vegas.
I'm going Vegas this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to be. You're breaking up a little bit, but I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm going to be with the nation. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a good time. I'm going to be enjoying the festivities and we figuring out what's going on this weekend. Obviously, it's the home opener, so it's going to be a lot going on Saturday, Sunday, all that good stuff. Yeah, like by the time you guys see this, I'm going to be probably on a plane on the way to Vegas. To be honest with
you. There you go, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's a Sunday night football game. So I've never been to a prime time. And if I've been to NFL games, obviously, but a prime time game, man, national TV, Sunday night football against the hated old school rival. I'm going to call it old school rival. Now it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Raiders need to get better. Steelers probably could say the same. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this game, man.
Yeah, primetime games are fun. I went out to Kansas City for a primetime game, and yeah, it was a hostile environment to say the least.
Oh, you did? Oh, you went to you went KC. Woo!
Yeah, I went to KC. It was.
You got heart, man. You got heart.
Yeah.
Raider fans got heart, man. They show up everywhere.
Yeah.
There's Raider fans out in Denver. You know what I mean? So they're.
Oh yeah, we're not scared of that.
Oh yeah, Raider fans travel. That's a fact. That's a fact. But if you guys are just now pulling up, man, just make sure to hit that like button, man. We much appreciated. You're most likely going to be seeing this on both of our channels. So if you're watching it there, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. The road to 4K continues. I'm trying to get to that big number. So make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bells on both our channels. So when we do go live, you'll be notified and you won't be hitting us up like, hey, man, I didn't know you went live, man. I missed it. That's your bad, man. But now me telling you this is looking out for you, man. So just hit that notification bell. But yeah, man, it's hey, man, the game is here. We like the other day we kind of touched on like the matchup with the Steelers. But before we get into like key matchups, the injury report was released.
Yep.
And let's take a look at that real quick. As you can see, like pretty much the entire week, the Raiders and the Steelers both had like the injury list was kind of filled up. But Friday's that important practice. That Friday practice really kind of will let you know if the player is going to play during the game. And it looks like everybody played fully practice. FP, I guess, means fully practice. Fully practice. The only guy in question is Tyree Wilson,
which is interesting, right?
Yeah,
like playing on the opposite side of Max Crosby. I mean, we need, especially this game, our pass rush needs to get going. We got to find an identity that's lacking, to say the least. So if Tyree's not able to go this week, is Malcolm Kuntz going to step in and get majority of those reps, or would you see maybe a Jordan Willis get activated?
Well, I think Kuntz has been playing. I'm not sure. He hasn't been playing as many snaps as Tyree Wilson, but Kuntz, I guess, has been getting a few snaps. I'm not sure if he officially started the game or was a Tyree Wilson thing. I think Kuntz did start last game, didn't he?
I believe he did, but I think Tyree's starting to get majority.
Yeah, but who got the most PT was Tyree.
Yeah,
I think he had more snaps than my guy Kuntz, but Kuntz didn't really play too well last game. Hopefully he steps it up this game. Man, the entire D line, man, didn't play well last game, man. Let's be honest. But as far as Tyree Wilson, I seen an interesting stat, and this is kind of stating the obvious because we seen it like firsthand watching the game.
Yeah.
But according to ESPN, Tyree Wilson, this is next gen stats. You know next gen stats, right?
Mm-hmm.
His average get off time is 1.01 second, which is the fourth slowest in the league among edge rushers that played at least 50 snaps. So to put that in perspective, the average time is 0.84 seconds. And the guy that leads that category is Myles Garrett at 0.61 seconds. So Tyree Wilson early on in his career needs to improve on a huge aspect for an outside pass rusher.
Yeah, that's just not going to cut it at the next level. To be honest with you, I want to see them kick him inside too. On third downs, I want to get him matched up against some guards, get his length used a little bit more. Maybe, emphasize a little bit more of that power to get some push up the middle, something the Raiders defense is significantly lacking. I mean, we've talked endlessly about the Raiders defensive line and where that stands. And if that doesn't get improved, look, Raider Nation, the fact of the matter is this is going to be a long season, specifically defensively. So if the Raiders don't make a move or find a way to get creative with creating pass rush, this defense is going to suffer.
Yeah. So that pretty much sums up the injury report for the Raiders. They're pretty much healthy. The only guy in question is Tyree Wilson. Both Chris Smith and Tyree Wilson had, illnesses. Sometimes the bug can get around, and it sounds like that might have happened to them. And but Chris Smith was able to practice at Thursday and Friday, so that's why you kind of see the fully practice, and he's not on the questionable thing. So I think Tyree's gonna go. It's nationally televised game. He wants to play. He wants to play, and he wants to play big too, because if he plays big, that's a better look for him. People are gonna be talking about him.
You think he gets his first sack?
I hope, man. He has an opportunity. But when you read stats like the Raiders are near the bottom of the league in pressure percentage, and we're top 15 in blitzing, it's pretty sad.
Yeah, that's horrible.
You're top, I think they're 13th in the league in blitz percentage, and we're at the bottom of the league at pressure. So, Patrick Graham is trying everything. The players ain't just stepping up. The players they thought were going to step up. Hopefully that changes. Hopefully they can maybe add some more talent to that D line, maybe in a trade. Who knows? Whoever's going to step up, it got to be someone in the roster for right now. But going to the Steelers, they're pretty healthy. Patrick Peterson, DeMonte Kazi, Minka Fitzpatrick. I was paying attention to this.
Yeah, me too.
He went to the hospital. I'm like, oh man, if they lose him, that's gonna be a big loss for their secondary. But he fully practiced on Friday, and he's good to go. So he's playing. So they're pretty much good, other than wide receiver Gunner. I can't even.
Yeah, let's not attempt it. Let's not butcher that.
Let's not butcher it. I gotta do it for the people though. I gotta do. This is a good comedy.
All right, go ahead, go butcher it.
Olszewski.
Oh, that was beautiful, Pharaoh. That was good.
Hey, Gunner Olszewski. You know what I mean? He's listed out with a concussion, so he's not going to be playing.
I'm sure that's exactly how you say it.
And then I'm going to give this one to you right here. I'm going to give this one to you. Even though he fully practiced, I just want you to pronounce this name right here.
Oh, this is easy. Larry Ogunjobi.
Okay.
Okay.
I was struggling a little with this one. I was like, man, this one.
I should have gave that one to you.
Yeah, but pretty much both teams are pretty healthy going into this game. But that being said, the players that are not listed that are actually big losses for the Steelers are Cam Hayward. We talked about that earlier in the week. He's going to be out. I think he's on injured reserve. He's going to be missing a few games. Deontay Johnson is going to be missing. So those are big losses on offense and defense for them. But yeah, man, like that's pretty much it for injury report, man. Like it's pretty straightforward, simple. The Raiders are going to be good to go, as well as the Steelers. This is going to be a good game as far as matchup wise, because right now you got a team like the Steelers who are defensively look like they got something there, but offensively, they're struggling.
Yeah, and talking about their offense, look, offensive coordinator Matt Canada, they're already talking about his replacement. You know, they're the 31st ranked rushing offense. They're averaging 9.5 points a game, which is just atrocious. And speaking of that, Kenny Pickett is playing the Las Vegas Raiders, who have played predominantly a ton of zone coverage this season so far under Patrick Graham. And I've got a few interesting stats about Kenny Pickett and how he's been able to play against zone coverage. I also went back and watched some film. And look, the Raiders and the Steelers offenses have the same struggles right now. Kenny Pickett is struggling to see zone coverage and hit the open windows. When you play man, you're looking for separation, release. Zone, you're looking at timing routes. There's small windows, and it's all about timing and anticipation and knowing where your receiver is going to be at the right time. And Kenny Pickett is struggling with that, much like Jimmy Garoppolo is struggling with that in the Raiders offense. So look, Kenny Pickett, he's averaging 6.6 yards attempt versus zone. That's 54th in the league. Not good. So he's checking the football down a ton. His touchdown to interception ratio, 2 touchdowns, 6 picks. Not good. 68.2 completion percentage. That's 25th in the league. So the Raiders defense cannot allow Kenny Pickett to look like a world beater. You're running a ton of zone coverage. Kenny Pickett's struggling against zone. This is a copycat league. Raiders are going to obviously emphasize zone coverage and force Kenny Pickett to make good reads and good decisions. He's just missing them, Pharaoh.
That's something that they're comfortable doing too. They're playing a lot of zone anyway, so I guess it's a good matchup in that way.
Yeah, they're playing that bend don't break style, come up and emphasize tackling. So, but man, Kenny Pickett right now against zone coverage, it's looking a lot like Jimmy Garoppolo. He's having George Pickens beat the cover 2 on the outside, and there's that window right between the corner and the safety, and there's about a 10-yard window, and if you throw it with good timing and anticipation, knowing where your receiver is going to be, you're talking about hitting on big explosive plays. So the Raiders can't allow Kenny Pickett to kind of get in that groove. Let's not let the Raiders be the team that Kenny Pickett starts figuring out how to play zone coverages. The Raiders got to get creative, man. That's just the bottom line. They got to get creative to get to the quarterback, because if you give a quarterback time, I don't care if his name is Kenny Pickett, whoever back there, they're gonna take advantage of that. You know what I mean? Kenny Pickett is not bad at that quarterback where if you give him time, you know, he's not going to complete a ball. You know what I mean? They have some weapons there. You know what I mean? And let's get into it, man. Like, that's a good segue as far as key matchups. And one of the big key matchups is one of the weapons they have. To me, their biggest weapon is George Pickens. 100%.
The dude is talented, man. 6'3", 200 pounds, physical, jump ball. And it's going to be a huge matchup for Marcus Peters and Jacorian Bennett. And the reason why I say both is because he's played a good amount on both sides of the football field, on the right receiver spot and the left receiver spot as far as snaps. So that means that, you know, Marcus Peters and Jacorian Bennett are probably going to get some time, unless like one of the corners like follow him around. But which I thought was interesting. I seen one of the, not the beat writers, but I seen a film guy I really respect. He noticed that Jacorian Bennett was following Diggs last week.
That's a big task.
So I'm thinking like if you're following, if the coaches are having you follow the Bills' number one receiver, what does that say about Bennett?
Well, they think very highly of him. Like it's not too big for him.
Number one, you know what I mean? They're kind of looking at him as like the number one guy. Then if you're,
is Marcus playing the number 2 role?
I'm not sure, but he's not technically struggling, to be honest with you. I mean, he's given up like 9 out of 10 catches so far this season, but for a total of 68 yards. So that goes back to what you were saying earlier about bend but don't break defense.
Yeah,
he's kind of playing to that, and I feel like it's kind of tough for him in this defense right now, is because I'd rather see Marcus Peters, and you could probably say this about any defender, any corner, any defender, with a D line.
Yeah,
you want to see a ball hawk with a crazy D line, because when you have a good D line getting pressure, the quarterback has to throw the ball a little bit earlier than he wants. Gives a guy with great instincts and ball skills like a Marcus Peters. But then if the quarterback has all day, then you can see a guy like Marcus Peters not being as
well. When you look at everywhere that Marcus Peters has decided to go to, the fronts have been formidable. I mean, Kansas City had a good pass rush. They were always opportunistic on defense of creating turnovers. He goes to the Rams. He's got Aaron Donald there. Mm-hmm. That's obviously a good defensive line. Goes to Baltimore. Baltimore is known for having a historically good defense. So, yeah, I mean, you nailed it. But the problem is who is going to step up for the Raiders on the defensive line. So,
So Peters hasn't allowed a touchdown this year too as well. So he's not playing terrible. I think with Peters, it's just everything starts with that D line at the end of the day. And but he has a big task guarding Pickens because he's a big play machine. They're going to give it to him. But Bennett, on the other hand, he's going through his rookie growing pains. He's given up 10 for 11 catches, 123 yards so far this season, 1 touchdown, and 143.6 passer rating. So he has his time. Even though we see some good things from Bennett, there's also some things that he needs to improve on. But yeah, man, it's going to be a huge matchup with George Pickens, man. That's one of the guys that I've circled on the board for George Pickens.
Well, I just also want to see Marcus Peters get involved, right? You go out there to make a splash play for a veteran like this. It's Sunday Night Football. Yep. These are where the lights don't get any brighter than this. Let's go see I don't even care if it's not even an interception. Let's go see you punch the ball out. You know what I mean? Let's see you create energy in the back end of that secondary. Yeah. And I'm telling you, it's a domino effect that if somebody can come away, and we'll kind of get into a player that I've got circled down later, but if somebody can create momentum turning the football over, this could snowball effect into the games coming up, because the Raiders have very winnable games coming up. And if we can start to create turnovers now, that could bode well for this Raiders defense.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. He's going to be hyped up, man. He's going to have the whole family, whole Oakland Bay Area is going to be in the house.
Yep.
Home opener. He's going to be hyped up. So definitely would love to see Peters make a huge play in his first game in, I would rather say Oakland, but it's going to be Las Vegas, home opener. But it's going to be a big game. But who do you have as a key matchup?
Oh man. So let me start defensively here for us. Mason Cole, the center for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is struggling mightily in this offensive scheme. He's having a hard time identifying linebackers who are jumping gaps. He's just not seeing defenses well right now. And that is the communication between your center to quarterback relationship is huge. He's giving commands and call outs for doubles to the guards and the tackles. Like Mason Cole right now is the focal point where the Raiders need to attack the interior of this offensive line. So coming downhill, Divine Diablo, Robert Spillane. I want to see these guys get involved in the run defense. Don't let Najee Harris get a rhythm. This offensive line is, like I said, 31st ranked rushing offense in the league. Do not let them find their footing against you.
Yeah.
You've got to be disruptive. You've got to get off the line quick. You've got to make this a physical matchup. And look, let's be honest with each other here. When you talked about tenacity and physicality, the Steelers, you could honestly make that argument right now. Heading into week 3, they are more physical than this Raiders defense.
Did you say 31st rushing offense by the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yep.
Hey, they do got a physical running back in Najee Harris, man.
They do. And the problem isn't with Najee. The problem is up front on the offensive line. Matt Canada has this offense just in shambles right now. And you cannot let them figure it out on this Raiders defense. So You got to take advantage. Mason Cole, Divine Diablo, Robert Spillane. Robert Spillane playing against the Steelers offense.
You breaking
Let's
up.
see him. Let's see him get involved in. There you go. Can you hear me? You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's like a little bit of a delay.
Okay. All right.
Yep, you're good. You're
so
good.
Mason Cole is my matchup. Yep.
Okay, Mason Cole. Hey, that's a good one, man. I thought that that's a good observation because it's everything is aligning to the Raiders kind of getting back on track. You know what I mean? They have an opportunity. They're not playing against a super talented Russian offense. They're not playing. There's certainly aspects of this game, this matchups that we're going to talk about and what you just talked about, where the Raiders can get back on track. And when I mean get back on track, we just gave up 120 plus yards to my guy James Cook with the Bills. The week prior, you know, even though the Raiders didn't give up 100 yards rushing to the Broncos, they were running the ball efficiently.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity where they can go at home, fired up, stop the run, put Kenny Pickett in third and long situations, and get this pass rush going too as well. And then going back to what we talked about right now, we talked about Marcus Peters making a play, Jaquarian Bennett. Now they have more opportunities to make a play if that pass rush can get going. I think right now there's some good things coming up for this game, but they have to take advantage of this. This is a game where it's winnable.
Oh, 100%. And you're hoping that the Raiders can kind of catch them like how the Bills were coming off of that ugly loss, and then you could see them translate that energy over into the game when they played us. Mm-hmm. And obviously they go out there and put up 38 points. Hopefully the Raiders can take the momentum off of a horribly ugly game and go out here and put on a performance against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, no doubt. So I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna take it to the offense, man. I'm gonna go with a Jermaine Illuminor, man. He's been playing great football, man. No tackle has pass blocked as much as Jermaine Illuminor, 54 snaps without giving up a sack, a hit, or hurry. Man, he's balling.
Well, we're gonna see where he stands after this game.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But that just shout outs to him, man. He's playing really good football. There was a time where we're questioning, is he going to start? It's him there, Mumford in training camp. We're kind of going back and forth. Obviously, the Raider coaching staff, they settled on Illuminor, and he's returning the favor. He's playing really good, probably his best football of his career. We haven't seen a lot of pre-snap penalties like that. He's doing his thing over there as far as pass blocking. But he's going against TJ Watt. You know, early favorite candidate for defensive player of the year, the way he's playing right now. I think he has 4 sacks, 81 and a half career sacks, including 4 sacks this year, which I think we talked about it. You said that he has more sacks than the Raiders as a team.
Yeah, I believe he's tied with the Raiders right now as a team,
which tells you everything you need to know, man. He's a one-man wrecking crew right now.
Yeah,
and the dude's a monster. He has the highest PFF grades. Any PFF guys in here? He has the highest for a defensive pass rush grade, which is at 92.2. So dude right now, he's balling, and Illuminor, it has a big test right now. And TJ Watt is that guy right now on that defense. So I think that's going to be a huge matchup. I'm stating the obvious, but man, right now, it's kind of like, you know, fight fire with fire right now. Illuminor is playing great football. TJ Watt is obviously, he's an established great edge rusher in this league. So that's going to be a huge matchup to look at.
So I'm going to flip it on the other side of the field, and I'm going to go the Robin to your Batman, Alex Highsmith.
Yep.
The Pittsburgh Steelers extended him a year ago. They knew what they had in him. You're talking about a 26-year-old. He has 14 tackles on the year, 1 pick, 1 sack, and 1 touchdown. Guy's an absolute game wrecker. He doesn't just line up at defensive end. He'll line up on tight ends. He'll get out there in space and cover. Look, he's the one who obviously led to the interception to turn over for a touchdown last week. He's coming off of a game where he's creating momentum defensively. Look, This is a superstar player. As much as we talk about TJ Watt, you cannot ignore the fact that Alex Highsmith is just a natural playmaker. So the Raiders have got to have him circled. Look, Colton Miller versus Highsmith, that is a matchup for the year. And also you have to throw in Austin Hooper and Michael Mayer and Josh Jacobs, because look, these guys are going to have to deal with him all game. Josh Jacobs in pass pro, Also in the receiving game, he can't have a Matt Milano situation. He has to want the football more than what Alex Highsmith wants it, or Alex Highsmith is going to have his way with Josh. The tight ends, man, Austin Hooper and Michael Mayer. Kind of been struggling to block Michael Mayer. Well, guess what? You better show up today because these tackles are going to need help both sides with TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. So just something to focus on, you guys, how the tight ends. I'm sure we'll see another 12 personnel. It just seems to be the theme with the defenses that we have early on in the schedule is a bunch of 12 personnel, max protection. So I think we're going to see a lot of similar things. It's just the Raiders offense has to be efficient and they have to get better. Jimmy Garoppolo has to get better. The left guard, center, and right guard position, we have to win internally this game. So Andre James, Dylan Parham, Greg Van Roten, you've got to create space. You've got to get up into the second level, and you have to beat these guys between the tackles because you're not going to win on the edges with TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And I think, and I brought this up the other show, and the Steelers, man, they're up there. Their pass rush, their pressure percentage is up there, one of the best in the league. They're fourth in the league with 30.1% pressure rate, which means that they're getting to the quarterback. They're pressuring the quarterback. But what's even crazier, they're doing that with the second lowest blitz percentage. So they're not blitzing a lot. So it goes back to talent. They got the talent. They got the TJ Watt on the other side. And just like right now, you just said Alex Highsmith, who had a big game in Monday Night Football. We all seen it. You know, Minster Fitzpatrick, another guy that the Raiders got to have to deal with. I was hoping maybe he missed his game, but he's gonna be playing his game. He tips the ball. Highsmith intercepts it, takes it all the way for a touchdown. I think the first few seconds of the game, that was crazy. And then, you know, obviously he had the sack, forced fumble, which led to TJ Watt taking it all the way to the house.
Game record.
So Alex Highsmith, he's taking advantage of his one-on-ones. If TJ Watt is going one-on 2 or 3, Alex Highsmith is doing his job, and that's what the Raiders D-line needs to do. You know, Max Crosby's taking all these doubles. Like, these offensive coordinators are keying on, you know, Max Crosby. We need some guy. Someone has to step up. Kuntz, come on, Kuntz, man. Like, hey, this is your opportunity, man. Like, if he's able to beat the guy in front of him one-on-one, hopefully he gets some snaps. Hopefully he gets put in positions to succeed. Meaning, if we can stop the run, put him in third and long, boom, there's your chance. Guys like Tyree Wilson, you know what, Tyree Wilson, I'm willing to give him time. Yeah, right now it's kind of obvious right now. He's gonna need some time to develop, man. Like, what we're here talking about is get off time. You know, that's something he's just gonna have to have an off season to work on. Like, it is what it is. Yeah. But there's other established veterans on this team that the Raiders were excited to, you know, they felt comfortable enough to trade away D tackles and think they're good in that room. But, you know, it is what it is. But it makes you kind of like, man, like, look at a TJ Watt, talented pass rusher. Max Crosby the same way. But look, the difference is he has someone to help him out. So, yeah, man, this is going to be a tough defense as far as against the pass. Like, their pass rush. I'll give their pass rush. I think their secondary is real old. You know,
that's a good segue because there's an emerging defensive back that was linked to the Raiders this offseason leading up to the draft, and that was Joey Porter Jr. He's starting to get a lot of snaps, really earned a lot more in week 2, I believe. I think he's ready to step into that role for them. And that segues in for the Raiders with getting Jacoby Myers back this week. So coming off of that brutal concussion, took a week off versus the Buffalo Bills. I hope that he's ready and able to take a hit again because this is going to be a very physical matchup. The last thing I want to see is Jacoby Myers go in there and take another solid hit and be out for an extended period of time. I don't want another Tua situation over here for the Raiders. So hopefully Jacoby Myers is cleared. And I know he's cleared to play, but I'm just saying clear mentally to be able to take another shot. Yeah. But hey, take advantage of a matchup with a young corner. You know what I mean? Show him a few things. And that's going to come down to Josh McDaniels scheming some things open for the wide receivers, which I think is going to be huge, Pharaoh. We talk about the offensive possessions. And look, I know a lot of receivers aren't getting a ton of targets. And it's been, you know, a topic of conversation between Hunter Renfrow and the guys not getting involved, Michael Mayer. But when you look at the amount of possessions and the plays that the Raiders have been able to run, you're not able to create a a sense of consistency on offense, of moving the football and getting into the playbook more, just because the Raiders haven't had that output. They haven't had the offensive output. They haven't had the possessions. So I want to see the Raiders extend possessions this game, win the time of possession. But, man, scheme open wide receivers. Get Hunter Renfrow the ball early. You know what I mean? On first down, I don't care if it's a little 3-yard out. Just get the ball in his hands and make the defense start thinking and have to adjust to take Hunter Renfrow into consideration, because using him as a deep post or you know, splitting the defenses down the middle of the field to get everybody else open, it's just not going to cut it.
You think McDaniel's going to do that?
Do what? Get the ball open to him?
Scheme someone open, like specifically.
Josh, he needs to, because it's limiting this offense, and the fact of the matter is Jimmy Garoppolo is not seeing the field properly right now. So if he's not seeing the field properly, all you're doing is hindering this offense from creating consistency. So get the ball into his hands. Get the ball designed into Michael Mayer's hands. I want to see seam routes by Michael Mayer. I want to see him use his big body. That's what you drafted him for. Hunter Renfrow in the slot, man. Get those 4 yards. Get Hunter Renfrow to make a guy miss and get a first down for you. Just let those guys get involved. Devontae is going to be Devontae. He's always going to be there. Okay, Jacoby has shown he can get open across the middle of the field. You have that. Let's start developing some of these guys and getting some target share just to give these defenses some different looks.
What do you think about just go? Because I was thinking about when you were talking about Jacoby Myers and you know, hopefully just pretty much saying hopefully he's good. Yeah. You know, I hope he's good as well. But I was thinking about, someone made a comment about how Jimmy G has kind of had a mini reputation in getting players hurt by throwing balls in situations where receivers can get hurt, and he's done it back to his San Francisco days. And then I was just thinking about, like, man, like Jacoby Myers, and the week after that, you know, you probably can say that Devontae Adams was more of a freak play because the other guy came from all the way from the other side of the field, but still, like, he's throwing it deep down 38 to Devontae Adams' game. Like, what are you doing? Like, but you know, it is what it is, man. I that's something to keep an eye on, man. If we keep seeing these players getting just hit, like, you know, defense is destroying them, but you also got to look at the person who's passing the ball too as well. Like, you got to protect your teammates.
Well, again, it goes into when you're going up against zone, it's about anticipation and timing and knowing when your guys are going to be in that open window. So if Jimmy Garoppolo is holding on to that football and then delivering the ball late, it allows those defenders to creep up and lay a huge hit on your receiver. So yeah. Man, it's Jimmy Garoppolo's just got to get better, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, man, I think we pretty much covered like the majority of the key matchups, I believe. I mean, obviously you talked about Matt Canada and hey, Patrick Graham. That's going to be this
is a game he's got to get it figured out, right? Oh. Patrick Graham's got to find some type of momentum against a guy, an offensive coordinator who's probably going to be out the door sooner rather than later. So
yeah,
I don't want the Raiders to look like the Raiders all the time. Like, we always end up playing to the talent of our opponent, and it drives me nuts, man. Like, go out there, be physical. This isn't a good offense. I'm just going to say it. This is not a good offense that we're about to go against. Don't let them look good, please. Like, go out there, be aggressive, pin the ears back, be opportunistic, man. Like, okay, even if they get one, you should be confident enough in the offense. Now, I say that hindsight because obviously we haven't had the possessions and the firepower, but be opportunistic, man. If you can go out on the shield and just be opportunistic and go out there and try to create turnovers and sacks and blitzes, like, I can live with that. Where I don't want to die on the hill of being passive and just bend, don't break. You just playing soft. That's not my style of football, and I don't think that's the Raiders' style of football.
And I want the Raiders to score some points.
Of course.
Right now, I'm not gonna. You know, I brought it up last show about how much they're like literally bottom of the league as far as averaging 13.5 points a game.
Right.
But I'm gonna kind of put that to the Raiders. Kind of like Jimmy G's kind of getting used to this offense, as well as possessions, as well as playing some really good defenses too.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and then not having any run game as well, which I think is going to get better as the season goes along.
That's the biggest equation of all of this is the run game, because we talked about it all off season, right? If this run game does not get going, Jimmy Garoppolo is not the guy that you want to be throwing the football 35, 40 times a game. It's not his game. So yeah, extremely important that we get the run game going.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But let's get to the keys of the game, man. It's that time. It's that time. Keys to the game. Things that we feel like need to happen. We need to pay attention to that will pretty much determine the outcome of the game. And I guess we can just I'll just start off by saying the Raiders need to establish the run. You know, the Steelers, they're 31st in yards per game. You know, hold on one second. Yeah, they're one of the worst. They're one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And you know, Josh Jacobs, you know, the other day I posted T Severe going crazy about Josh Jacobs, but he had a point. I mean, he hasn't looked as explosive. He looks a little bit hesitant, you know what I mean? He might be a little bit rusty. But, you know, it's not all on him too as well. Like the teams are keying in on him, 8-man in the box. They're not respecting the Raiders as far as making explosive plays. That's another thing too. The Raiders got to hit on explosive plays. I think that's 100%. A big key right there. They need to have these teams respect them as well as establish the run. So I guess it goes hand in hand. And I think Josh Jacobs has a great opportunity going against one of the worst run defense so far in this young NFL season. The Steelers, as well as they can get to the quarterback, stopping the run right now so far this season has been tough. And they lost Cam Hayward, their big playmaking D tackle is not going to be there. So they're going to be a little thin in the inside. So that gives the Raiders an opportunity. Come on, there should be no excuses. We should be able to establish to run this game.
Well, let's put it this way. Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt are thriving despite having a bad run defense. If they show up and have a good run defense against the Raiders and force you in long passing situations, this game could get ugly quickly. So, yeah, running the football is so pivotal. But the thing about it is Pittsburgh knows that, and we know that. So it's going to be who executes.
Well, you remember last time, I mean, Steelers are good at execute. They can execute a game plan. I mean, they know this. It's a copycat league. Every team that we played so far, they're watching the tape. They're going to put 8-man in the box. They're going to you kind of see it coming.
Oh, you're going to see the same blueprint that the Buffalo Bills did, and until the Raiders prove that they can beat that, then that's what we're going to see week after week.
They're going to force Jimmy G to beat him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And to beat them with explosive plays, meaning like, hey, make them pay. If you're putting an extra man in the box, there's someone going one-on-one. So hopefully getting Jacoby Myers, a guy that he has a lot of chemistry so far or early on in his Raider career. Maybe, explosive play there. Maybe hit a Trey Tucker. Do you think he's going to be active this game?
Oh, yeah, he should be. Here's the thing. Well, that's a good question, actually. I think that they should activate it and maybe deactivate somebody on the roster that's not getting a ton of reps.
Right.
I want full firepower for this because you're going to have to get creative on Sunday Night Football. But it goes back to what we talked about earlier, right? Is scheming guys open. Yeah. Because if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to win the game with his arm, Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers can't be the only two targets. You know what I mean? Get Trey Tucker involved, get Hunter Renfrow involved, get Michael Mayer involved, Jacoby, Devontae. When you get more options available, it's so much harder to cover. So you've got defensive thinking all over the place. So, yeah, man, I think you nailed it. So if they do get stuck in throwing the football, man, you've got to disperse it to all weapons. You just cannot be a 1 and 2 read type of guy. The whole one and going through read 1 and maybe read 2 and then checking it down, that's not going to fly against the Steelers.
And offensively, you know what's crazy is they've started games well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They started off games well. It's just as the game goes on, not having a run game, not having that ability to hit on those big plays, those opportunities where, you know, players going one-on-one, it's going to catch up to you. And you're going 3 and out. You're giving the ball back to, well, I'm not sure. I think I read something. I thought it was interesting. I think the Raiders had the least amount of three and outs. But that's kind of weird because it's like,
well, again, it's because of the possessions.
Yeah.
So they just haven't had that many at bats, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, man, hey, what are your keys to the game?
So to be honest with you, man, don't let the Steelers defense create momentum. You know, we can't go out there and get another 2 turnovers, and this defense knows how to create turnovers, but then score off of that. So you're at home, it's home opener, it's primetime football. Don't let this Steelers defense create momentum and turn the ball over and give this offense an opportunity to score and look good. You just can't do that. So Raiders need to execute running the football. Jimmy Garoppolo needs to be careful with the football, but distribute it properly to multiple weapons. And I think making the Steelers offense one-dimensional. If they're the 31st ranked rushing offense and averaging 9.5 points per game, keep it that way. Don't let that number go up. So if they're 31 ranked rushing offense, by the end of this game, I want them to be the 32nd ranked rushing offense. You know what I mean? Give a little bit of revenge of what happened to us last week. Don't let Najee Harris get above 50 yards. Don't let him break off big explosive runs for a touchdown.
Right.
All that stuff has to be cleaned up and limited. Keep Kenny Pickett throwing because, like I said, Matt Canada having a horrible time, especially passing the ball, scheming guys open, being very predictable with his play calling. I was watching film, and anytime that they run up an ISO formation and you see 19 do an audible, they'll pull them across and motion them across the line of scrimmage. It typically leads into play action or an outside zone run. So the thing about it is it feels very, very predictable of what they're going to be doing. So if us as fans see it, Patrick Graham needs to make those adjustments and capitalize a key matchup where he could take over this offense.
Yeah, going back to what I was trying to find the stats for Steelers. Yeah, they are the worst run defense in the NFL. They're giving up 193 yards a game, and they're giving up 5.6 yards per carry. So I know a guy like Josh Jacobs is looking at that like, this is my get back. All you guys talking all this mess. We gonna see after this game. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned, things need to happen as well. He needs some help too. It's not all on Josh Jacobs. The Raiders need to run block a little bit better. Jimmy a lot better. Yeah. Jimmy G needs to hit on some explosive plays, move the safety out the box. Let that defensive coordinator think twice to put the safety in the box. Last year, I think there was a stat that Josh Jacobs probably faced one of the most, too high safety looks. You know what I mean? So that means that guys, there's not going to be an extra safety in the box. That means a guy like Josh Jacobs, as talented as runner as he is, he's able to like make guys miss and get some chunk yards. But that comes with, the quarterback helping him out, the defensive offensive coordinator helping him out, the offensive line. Everything needs to work at the same time. But this is kind of random off topic. When I was watching the Steelers and Browns game, man, like Deshaun Watson, like, is that like, is it going to go down as one of the worst trades and contracts in history? Like, he does not. His
contract is fully guaranteed. Like,
he does not look good right now.
He hasn't looked good for a while.
And that's when you have a huge layoff from football, you kind of look a little bit rusty. You're gonna be rusty. I mean, football is the speed of the game, timing, all that. It's gonna, especially quarterback. That's a tough position.
Yeah,
and he missed a lot of time. But man, the 2 games that I seen him play, I'm like, this doesn't even look like Deshaun Watson, pre-Deshaun Watson. Like, I'm like looking at him like, and I'm just thinking about like, wow, the Browns are kind of in a terrible situation. If this doesn't work out, this is gonna set them back for years. I mean,
yeah, they were desperate to get their guy, and they were willing to do anything and give up however much money. But if you miss on that, it's not pretty. So, no, yeah, I get it. Hey, is there any players that stand out to you that could potentially be a breakout type of player?
Any players that could stand out?
Yeah, that you think is going to have a breakout game?
Well, look, you know what? I'm going to put this on Jimmy G, because Jimmy G is going to have to spread the ball around.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to throw it. Other than I know Jacoby Myers is gonna be there. Okay, that's the guy. Okay, Devontae Adams is obvious, but you gotta like, hey, your tight ends. He was my guy first game of the season until I seen what happened. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this. And you mentioned too before, like, or I'm not sure if it was you, but you're mentioning like, I think the tight end Michael Mayer was one of the guys that kind of missed some time, and that was some time where he could have built chemistry with Jimmy G.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that see a couple of passes. I know you said scheme up Renfro. Love to see Renfro. I love to see Michael Mayer. Like, guys like that are going to be huge if they can get their game going. That's going to make the offense so much dangerous.
Yeah, and I want to see the play action too. And obviously, you got to create a run game, but man, if we could create play action and get Michael Mayer involved, which is what I think this offense is really waiting for, is they like to sneak the tight ends out, fake the block. It's kind of like a delay, and then the tight end gets out in the flat, and there's just open space for them to create. So you need a running game in order to do that. So I think that's what they're kind of waiting on. But yeah, man, you're 100% right. Get Michael Mayer involved, get Hunter Renfrow involved. But I'm going to go to the defensive side of the football with somebody that we paid to bring in to make plays. I'm actually going to say Marcus Epps gets the first pick of the season. I think he's starting to step into his own a little bit. I kind of like a few things that he did. Obviously not perfect. We got blown out. But I think this is the game, primetime football. You bring him in from the Eagles. You're running a ton of zone coverage. You're familiar with this. It's week 3. It's time to make a play. Take advantage of one of those Kenny Pickett deep shots to George Pickens. I've got Marcus Epps getting the first pick of the season.
Okay, I like that. He kind of stood out to me when I'm watching the game. I know it was a blowout loss, but you see how physical he is. You see him come in and hit. There was a play where I think it was Diggs was literally about to get the first down. He did not allow him to get that first down.
Yep.
And I love that. I know they got the first down right after that, but just to have that opportunity, other times in Raiders defense history, that'd have been an automatic first down, fall forward. It wouldn't even been a question. So Marcus Epps, I like that. I think just someone stepping outside, someone on that D line stepping up outside of Max Crosby.
It's crucial.
I'd be excited after the game if that happened. Well, getting the run game going and someone outside of Myers and Adams having a big game is huge because it builds a little bit more confidence. You can build off that. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like at the end of the day, like if those things happen, because these are things that we haven't seen so far this season. So
that's why I think Robert Spillane and Divine Diablo are honorable mentions, because specifically on film, defensive lines, they were able, especially like the 3-tech, your nose tackle, they were able, because Mason Cole is struggling so significantly as a center. Man, these gaps for these linebackers to get downhill and get behind the line of scrimmage and get Najee in a situation kind of like what we seen Josh Jacobs last week with the Buffalo Bills. Just guys were in the backfield before the play even started. So Robert Spillane and Divine Diablo have an opportunity to have a really big game. So it wouldn't surprise me if both of them have, 6, 7, 8 tackles each. And I'd like to see them get after it a little bit in the blitz as well, because I think those opportunities are going to be there.
And Spillane need to wrap up, man. He comes in, he drops the hammer, but sometimes he misses some tackles. Like he has some opportunities to give some players some tackle for losses in the backfield. But
I think you're going to see a fired up Spillane this week.
I hope so. I want to see it against his former team. He played for the Steelers. I think he was there for like a few years. So I'm sure that he knows a lot of those guys in that locker room, that coaching staff.
It's the only place he's been.
He's going to be motivated. He's going to be like, hey, you guys made a mistake. I should be the middle linebacker. I should be a linebacker on that Steelers team. But you guys made a mistake. I'm with the Raiders now. So hopefully he has a big game. Divine Diablo hopefully has a big game as well. I think
I'm impressed. I'm impressed with Divine.
He's gotten better. I think we haven't. It's not. People are not noticing as much is because the fact, I'm telling you, this defense, if it was going to get better, even just a little bit better, it was because at the very least, our D-line was going to be effective.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's opposite.
Now, if you take the D-line out the equation, then that just turns you don't notice. I don't think Raider Nation is noticing like certain players, like you mentioned, Marcus Epps. We talked about Jacorian Bennett looking like he might be a nice player, even though we talked about him giving up some yards. We still like some of the things he's doing. Divine Diablo has looked good so far. He doesn't look as lost as he did.
Well, they've simplified it a lot, and that's what I was going to get into. Is like clearly this defensive scheme has been simplified. They're running a ton of zone coverage, which is opposite of last season. Mm-hmm. And like I said, they're just playing a bend don't break style early on in the year. And hey, man, Dave Ziegler talked about his philosophy. He thinks that you start in the trenches and you build the inside out. I'll tell you what, if this is the type of defensive line that he's deciding to build, it's there's a lot of questions there to say the least.
Yeah, no doubt. I just him. It's funny because him and Matt Canada are like in the same type of situation. I think Matt Canada might be in a. I think the fans right now they're going in on Matt Canada right now because the offense is, because they have some talent on the offense, but they just haven't been able to like make the plays that they thought they were going to make before the season started. So it is what it is. That's not our problem. That's the Steelers' problem. I think with Patrick Graham, it sucks because at the same time, I don't think he has all the talent at his disposal.
No.
So I just think that he's going to be a scapegoat. If the defense falters this season, he's going to be the easy guy. Like, hey, it was his fault. and it might buy some other guys some time on this team, or specifically Josh McDaniels and Ziegler. But they got their own problems to deal with. Man, and I'm not gonna get into all Chandler Jones. We didn't talk about it too much because we're kind of tired of it a little bit. But at the same time, we hope that it's nothing too serious that's going on with Chandler Jones. But from the Raiders side, they finally kind of made an acknowledgement of what's going on with Chandler Jones. Before it was just like no comment from Josh McDaniels. We're handling internally, and now they've moved Chandler Jones to the NFI list, non-football injury list. So hopefully he's getting the help that he needs. We don't have any information, so it's kind of hard to talk about. All we have to talk about is Chandler Jones' social media posts that have kind of been erratic and all over the place.
Yeah, it's not something. I mean, we've had conversations off camera, but it's just not something that I just I don't want to really talk about it. It's
yeah,
I'm gonna take the mentality that the locker room is taking, man. Like, keep it in house. Let's keep it pushing, and let's go win against the Steelers.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But yeah, man. Hey, anybody at the game? Hopefully, I see y'all. I'm gonna be in Vegas. Hopefully, see y'all in Vegas, enjoying the game, enjoying the festivities. I think Simone Raider has some things going on, so I might check that out. But yeah, man, like, hey, if y'all see me at the game, man, say what's up, man. Like, hey, I don't know y'all by faces. Y'all need to understand, like, if you see me, you're gonna see me before I see you. Like, I'm looking at some of the profile pictures sometimes from these live shows, and that's all I go by. You know what I mean? Like the names and stuff like that. So when you approach me, hey, I'm so and so from the chat or whatever. You know what I mean? Like let me know, and and hopefully, in the future, it's gonna be me, Ray, at the game. We're gonna be chilling. Y'all get to meet all of us and have a good time. At the end of the day, we're fans of the team as well, so we want to have a good time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game, seeing Raider Nation, man, having a good time. Home opener. Hopefully they come out with a W. You don't want to do the you kind of any score prediction? You did this last week. Any score prediction from for this game?
27. No. 23-17 Raiders.
23-17. That's 10 points above their points per game average. They're averaging 13.5 a game. So okay, 23-17. You know what? I'm gonna go 30-17. 30-17. I'm gonna give him a touchdown.
30-17.
I'm gonna have him. Hey, I won't be so hyped. Oh my! I'm gonna be going crazy.
You're just excited.
I'm gonna be going crazy at the game, and on top of that, I'm gonna try to get some footage. I'm gonna show y'all like the whole. I'm gonna try my best to get the footage, put it all together, put it in a video, so y'all can enjoy the whole experience with me. I'm gonna be cracking jokes, asking people random questions. I tried to do this the first time I went to Vegas. It was like during the draft, a couple years back when it was in Vegas. And like it went like it was cool, but it was at the same time like it went totally left because like my mic wasn't working and you could barely hear.
Of course.
But now I have the mic. I have the right mic. So
he has the mic, ladies and gentlemen.
I have the mic. I have the mic. So now when I see y'all, like, hey, I might clip on a mic on you and we're gonna ask you a random question. And it might be on the YouTube channel, man. Y'all might be YouTube famous if it goes viral, man. Like, but that being said, man, I'm looking forward to the game.
Me too.
And yeah, man, any last thoughts?
Nah, man. I think this one's simple. I think we just leave it off how we always leave it off, man.
How we always leave it off.
Just win, baby.
All right, y'all.
Great Pharaoh. The gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric. Great Pharaoh. The gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game.